I'll tell you what, Mike Swift, I'm trying real hard not to get political, but $4.99 gas, one person tell me this is what you voted for. I'll wait.
This is what I voted for.
Liar.
I didn't say I was telling the truth.
Here's what's on your mind. I'm Stephen Lewis. That's Mike Swift. I would love to talk about the things that have me heated, but the problem is you can't win. Somebody is going to be blindly defensive of whichever side you talk about, so it's just not worth it.
Welcome to another episode of Two Angry Anal
Right,
Radio
right,
Guys Talk
right.
About Nothing, followed with Stephen Lewis always taking unflattering pictures of me and posting them on our What's on Your Mind episode page. Thanks, Stephen.
You're welcome. It's what I do. It's my
You
thing.
do. Yet
Uh,
it is your thing.
anyway, so I know you've
I
had
don't
a.
think there's been one nice picture you've taken of me
That's
yet.
not true. There's a couple of them that are really cool. I would have made it your profile picture if I were you. But um, so let your what's on your mind? You got a lot of stuff on your mind. It's been an interesting 10 days
uh,
for you since last week. We did go to the Reds Tigers game. It was a
we
great
did.
victory for me. It's a lot of fun.
Hmm.
So we took my friend Sarah. That was fun. So
Yeah, she was a hoot. I liked Sarah. She was cool.
cool. She's watching Peaches for me Friday night because I have a gig. So her and Peaches,
Thank you, Sarah.
her and Peaches are having a girls' night.
I'm jealous. I would love to
Have a
take
girls'
Peaches
night?
for a day.
Oh,
I would love to take Peaches for a day, but I'm just afraid my boys, my dogs would eat her.
your dogs would. I love Rocky
Well,
and Apollo, but they would.
I don't think necessarily. I think they would just try to play because they don't know how to play anything except for rough. And yeah, that'd be a no go.
So she'd be like, "What the heck is
what is
this?"
what is going on? Why?
Right? Ugh. So anyway,
Anyway,
what is on your mind?
so yeah, I guess it is my turn this week. You could tell me that, it would, that I didn't go probably, for the last 3 weeks last week, and I would believe you. Um, just simply because what's on my mind has been my health. We've talked about the brain fog that I've had and how it's been sometimes difficult to have conversations with me, but it only got worse, kids. So in fact, God, it ends up involving you once again. Was attempting to work and well, even before that, I was getting ready for work and it took me almost three times the amount of time it usually takes me to get ready for work when I realized that I was going back and doing the same things over and over. And about the third time that I realized I'd gone into my bathroom to put conditioner in my hair again, um, I just kind of lost it. Um, I was scared, I was confused, I didn't know what was happening, but I was still trying my best to suck it up, Buttercup, go on with my day. And I probably did the worst thing that anybody in my condition at that point could have done. And I hopped in my car and attempted to go to work. And I got about a mile away from where I was supposed to be, and I realized I am in poor condition and really should not be behind a wheel. And it was scary. It was scary. I went full blown panic attack.
Yeah, yeah, you were when you called me. It was scary. I was like,
And
"Well, let's
to
get
be
you to a
honest with
doctor."
you, I'd probably reeled myself in a bit at that point. I was in bad shape, like before I even before we actually spoke on the phone. Um, like I was scared. Um, you got me over to a doctor or over to the hospital. Well, I So you drop me off at the Ready Med, um, and it was like, there's nothing they can do here. Yeah, you should be able to get that. They've got to recommend you to the hospital, Stephen. That's not how hospitals work. But thank you for
You act
thank
like
you for
I am.
taking.
You act like I am a learned doctor. Like
It was
I go to
like,
the doctor. I go to the doctor when it requires me to have some form of physical surgery. I
uh-huh.
go to the doctor once a year for my annual, and then I go to the doc. I went to the last time I went to the doctor, multiple doctors, was my hospital issue back in the fall. So like I don't go to the doctor. So I don't like I'm the person the insurance companies love because I shell out money to them every month and I rarely use my shit. Like it's not.
So yeah. So when you're having a medical issue,
Huh?
typically you just go right to the hospital, and then they say, "Hey, you're good enough to be seen," or "Hey, do this, do that," and we should be good. But anyway, so I
Nonsense.
end up I end up at the it was an outpatient, almost like a Ready Med for our local hospital. And I get there and there's a sign. It says, "We're at lunch. We won't be back for until this time," which was like an hour from the time I walked in. No, it wasn't quite an hour because I remember getting to almost that time and finally just calling Marcy and was just like, "Look, Steven just dropped me off because you were like, all right, you should be good here." And I'll,
I
I'll,
thought you
I'll check,
were.
yeah, I'll check back on you in just a little while. Okay, sure. Okay. So I sat there and
So
I'm like,
now you're painting me out to be like this evil human being. I got enough people that I'm the villain in their story.
but you are. We'll get to this. No. We'll get
I
to
was like, there
we'll
was a,
get
hey, there
back to
was
you.
a, hold
We'll
on.
get
You act like there was a dude set up alongside the road that said medical issues, check in here. And he had a nice little yard sale box and I dropped you off there. This
at
guy,
that place you might as well have.
you act like I know a great doctor right between a pawn shop and a strip club. You'll be fine.
No. It was next to a smoothie place and a Chick-fil-A.
I know. And I was, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. I was pissed because I want a smoothie and the damn line was too long. I was like, the one time I'm near this place and there's a line out the door because it was 80
So
degrees.
I now I sign
And
in.
then I thought about it, but I'm like, you know what? If I won't wait for him, I shouldn't wait for the smoothie. I'm like, that would just be bad.
So we so I'm sitting there. I call Marcy and she and Jaden pull up and get me and drop me off to the actual hospital. So they check me in and they're like, "Okay, there are people in front of you. Please just, fill this
I'm
out,
seat for the
wait."
next 6 hours.
So I sit there for maybe all of maybe 20 minutes, and in that 20 minutes I witnessed quite the interesting sight. If you want entertainment, sit in an emergency room waiting room, because it was quite the entertainment. Everything from the guy hurling to the delivery guy trying to figure out who ordered food from the emergency. It was weird, strange chaos, and anybody that has worked in an ER can definitely probably vouch for that. So anyway, they wheel out an X-ray machine. They call me up, wheel out an X-ray machine, and they take an X-ray of my chest, and I'm like, my chest. I'm having like all the issues seem to be in my head. And I'm like, oh well, sometimes if there's like swelling around the heart, that can cause, issues like that. I'm like, okay, fine, fine, whatever, cool. So they take the x-ray of my chest, they tell me to sit back down. A few minutes later, this girl comes over, calls me up, and hooks me up to this EKG monitor. And she's they get me hooked up and she looks at me and she's like, "Are you having chest pains?" No. um,
Do you want to be?
Shortness of breath? Yeah, right? But she's asking me all these things and I'm like, "No, I'm just, you know, f- been having problems of being, disoriented and anxious and I'm forgetting things and having trouble complete sentences sometimes." So she calls somebody over and they talk and I'm kind of standing sitting there and I'm like, what the hell is going on? So they tell me finally that the EKG is showing that my heartbeat is irregular. And they get me right back to emergency and I'm like, what is going on here? So they finally take me back. I'm in the room and now that I mention it, they never really. Well, okay, no, I'm forgetting already. The doctor finally tells me, "Hey, listen, you showed an irregular heartbeat, but we think maybe what we were thinking was irregular might be normal for you." Okay, so you scared the shit out of me once already. Thank you. Um, so fast forward later in the evening. By this time now, Steven comes back and to check on me and make sure I was good. Doctor comes in. She's asking me all the questions. And Steven, the helpful friend that he is,
Always
hey,
there.
she says, hey, social drinker, blah, 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 blah. Yes, yep, all that stuff's in my chart. Hey, did you tell her about your meth addiction?
You don't
No,
want to keep
Steven.
stuff. You don't want to keep stuff like that at that time.
Thank you, Steven. I don't have a meth addiction. I look at the doctor and
You don't.
um, did, did did you tell her about your OnlyFans, Steven? Shut the hell up. That has nothing to do. You were quite the helpful friend. Indeed.
I I'm a giver. That's what I do. I was
Mm,
just make sure they were covering all the bases. I didn't want anything to be left out. I mean, it was nice. Secretly, I think she wanted to know what your OnlyFans like URL was.
I don't have an OnlyFans. But thank you, Steven. Thank you for being so helpful.
Oh, with $4.99
It's
a gallon for
it,
gas,
it,
maybe you should consider opening one.
it's such a city. At this point, I'd considering it. You were such the helpful friend in such a very important situation. Thank you. I can't thank you enough.
Welcome. You're
But
welcome.
anyway, there were some issues that the hospital kind of found, but then told me maybe it's something, but maybe it's not. Could be something, but not. Anyway, they kept me for 2 days.
I'm really sorry for adjusting your chart that said you needed a hemorrhoid surgery. I didn't really think they'd go through with that.
You are my only hemorrhoids. Um, but yeah, 2 days stay at but in all of that, the staff at Kettering Medical was really awesome. Oh, I've been saving this story for you, sir.
Oh, great.
So one of the last things I told you before you left, before they admitted me, was I was going to request a sponge bath. I said this completely joking. Um, and it strangely happened, Stephen, in the weirdest, craziest of ways that it could ever happen, outside of it being like some weird hairy dude. So I when they first admitted me, they take me back to this room that the nurses jokingly called the dungeon. because they didn't have any actual rooms for me at the time. Nurse was very pessimistic on. She said, "Hey, you might get a room tonight." I wouldn't bet on it. Like, okay, well, it is what it is. It's a room. I'm by myself. There's a TV. I can watch the game. Blah blah blah. So I kind of get comfortable and eventually fall asleep. So about 3 o'clock in the morning, door opens. Nurse comes in. She says, "Hey, you got a room." I'm like, "Oh, cool." She's like, "I know, right?" I'm like, "All right, cool." So get my stuff together. They throw me in a wheelchair, wheel me up to my room, take me up they take me to the nurse's station on the particular floor I was staying on. Nurses took over to take me into the room. Two nurses. So the nurses sit me down on the bed and they say, we're gonna change you out of this gown." I went, "Okay, all right, cool." I'm shirtless, but I have pants on. So I'm like, "All right, no big deal." So they get the gown off me, and all of a sudden they break out this bag of what could only be described as human dude wipes. And they go, "We're going to just kind of clean you up a little bit before we put this gown on you." And I'm like, now, mind you, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just kind of like, oh, okay. And they lay me down on the bed, and the two of them swaddle me down, swab me down with these wipes. And I'm just kind of like, by this time I'm kind of fully awake, but just kind of weirded out and too weirded out to say anything other than just kind of just sit there in shock. The one nurse looks at me and goes, "Is there any possibility that you might need some cleaning in the front?" I said, "Absolutely not."
So
Indeed.
did you get your sponge bath?
That was kind of the closest thing that I've ever come to, and I hope I never ever ever come close to doing again.
Sir,
It was so awkward.
do you require some cleaning in the front? I don't know, but we might as well see.
You would think something smooth would have come out of my mouth like that, but it was like my mouth opened and the words came out before I could even think. And it was awkward. It was awkward, Stephen.
I would have been like, hold on. Let me think about for that for a second. Yeah. You know what? Why not? Go ahead and dim the hospital lights a little bit.
The lights were already dim.
Just in case.
Oh God, it was so awkward. I wanted to like they walked out of the room and it was like,
I'm just
do
saying.
do I do I cry? At this point, do I cry myself to sleep? Yeah, the
Oh,
voice in my
that's
head the
funny.
whole time just going, "Not like this. Not not like this."
Funny. That's funny.
Uh,
You know.
but anyway, no, the staff at Kettering Health were really great.
I
Um,
think the important thing is that you lived through it all.
oh, I lived through it. I
Ready, med, and all. So
Yeah, that was quite the experience that I will hope to never ever relive, especially that Ready Med type place. That was weird. Like
oh,
the entire staff takes lunch at the same, like I get it because they probably open and close at the same time, but
sure.
I don't know. That's
It's
just
weird.
weird.
That is kind of weird. You would think you would think somebody would be on standby or at
Something.
least something like that. But, well,
Anyway, that's what's on my mind this week is my health, and hopefully doctors can figure out what is going on with me.
I don't have any like I mean, I guess mine's probably not nearly as fun yet as dangerous as yours was the entire time. Mine is just a like life choice kind of thing. Like I have not been happy in a while. And like, it's a thing now where I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to talk about this without diverging too much information. And it's just one of those things where I don't really know if I take a leap, if it's going to make me happy, or if I'm going to regret it in 6 months. Because taking a leap would require a lot of blowing up of life that I can't necessarily put back together. But then there's the other side of me that goes, well, you know, is it a life really worth, is the part of life you're blowing up really worth keeping together anyway? Because, you know, I will argue that the most unselfish thing I ever did with my life didn't work out the way it was supposed to. And, you know, now I just, you know, feel like I wasted opportunities when I shouldn't have a couple of years ago. And none of us are getting any younger. So I'm like, do I take opportunity while it's presented and give it a whirl and go with it and try to be happy? Or do I do the status quo and keep waiting and wasting more time? And that's what my dilemma is. So, and I don't have the right answer. And I don't expect you to have the right answer either. Because I don't know. Like, I've been asked, what's going to make you happy? I don't know. If I knew that, it would be a whole lot easier. But I don't know. And there's always the whole like fear of missing out is a real deal. Because then I'm like, if I took a leap, would I be afraid I'm missing out on something that I shouldn't have taken a leap for? And then there's the other side of me that goes, you know what? I am in a position where I am, and we're obviously speaking about radio, I am better than where I'm at, if that makes any kind of sense whatsoever. And I know that I'm better than where I'm at. I've got a resume that says I'm better than where I'm at. But I also look at the industry and it's not what it used to be. You know, you and I joke about it all the time, and we've talked about it with other people, how it used to be all the time. It's really true. Like, there's a lot of rumors right now that one of the biggest companies in the country is going to merge with Sirius. And if that's the case, it's going to be a goddamn bloodbath where it comes to jobs, which will make the talent pool even deeper and even harder to get, you know, a job that you want to do. So like now I'm like, sit back and I wake up sometimes and I'm like, you know what? When I was in college, I had a nice job lined up at Fidelity Investments. Wonder what would have happened if I just would have taken that and been okay with a 9 to 5. But I've just never been someone in my life. I've operated too long outside of the 9 to 5 world to be able to adjust to it now. Like, I come from a world when people go, well, you got 45 minutes for your lunch. I'm like, yeah, you're fucking mind. I come from a world where if I need to go to lunch for 2 hours, I do it and nobody bats an eyelash. Like, it's just, I can't function in that kind of structure. I can't function in a punch your time card and here you go. Kind of like, I know, I just can't. I'm one of those people. And I can think we both know people who are exactly the same way, that they can't function. And I attribute it to the fact that if I would have started doing what I did and I just would have done it for a summer or for a year or something like that, I think I could have readjusted. But I think I spent so much time, and I think it's the same way for other people. If you were an auto mechanic all your life, and then all of a sudden, you know, let's say you hurt your hand and you can't work on cars anymore. So you go to a customer service job where you're just talking on the phone all day. I think it would drive that person crazy because they'd be in the same situation. They wouldn't be able to adjust to that, you know what I mean? That structure and that life, you know what I mean? Because they're so used to something else. Kind of thing. And it's just weird. And I'm not even talking about, you know, financially and stuff like that. I'm just talking about, like, you know, my stepdad told me a long time, and I know it's a cliche saying, that if you're happy with what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life. You know, and there are times when, like, I can look back and I can go, I was really happy. You know, and we'd said it before. It's not that we were all getting rich. It's just we were happy with what we were doing. And I couldn't imagine, you know, especially now with gas, what it is. Could you imagine how much more it sucks if you wake up every day and you're forced to go do something you hate for 8 hours a day. Could you imagine what it feels like right now to shell out even more to get to the place that you hate for 8 hours every day, only to come, you know what I mean? Only to have the paycheck not balance out to do all that. Like, it's just, I don't know. So that's kind of been what's on my mind. Like, do I sacrifice money for happiness? But if I do, am I really going to even be happy? So I don't know. So that's where I am. Whiny as usual.
Well, that's what you do.
I'm good at it though. I mean, I am
You are
good at it.
damn good at it. If it were the Olympics,
I
brother,
know.
you'd be the Michael Phelps of
Gold
whining.
medalist. Multiples. Multiple.
What you would have medals in whining and petty.
I would. Prince of Petty. I would. I would show
No,
them
what
off
I
too. This is my gold medal for whining in the office. This is my gold medal for whining in the grocery store. This is my gold medal for whining on a podcast. This is my gold medal for whining in life in general. This is my silver medal for whining in church because I toned it down a little bit because God was listening. So,
well, see, you would happily wear your gold medals everywhere you went, like the Kurt Angle.
Yeah. I have Olympic gold medals.
Listen, what I have to say is when life is too short, you I think you are the type of person that if either way, whether you do or don't, you're going to wonder the what if on the other side.
Absolutely. I already do. I wonder the what
So,
if. I wonder the what if from 2021 on. I'm like, oh, I said no to that. Oh, I said no to that. Oh, I said no to that. Wonder what would have happened now if I would have said yes to one of those.
I am in a position right now where I question whether or not I can continue to do some of the things that I want to do.
Sure. Makes sense.
And if that is true, I would be that mechanic in customer service.
Yep. Totally. I totally get it.
And that is 100% my biggest fear.
Yeah. I can see that. And I do think we are all products of our environment. And I mean that in home life. I mean that in work life. And I think if you're used to something and you know what it is, it's kind of like just in general, you know how people are from different places and everybody grew up differently. So there are things about you that you love from where you grew up that are different from where I grew up. It doesn't mean one is any better than the other. It just means that that's what you were accustomed to. So that's what you got used to. And for you, like that's how your life is kind of based around and intertwined in it, as opposed to, you know what I mean? And somebody else might not understand it because they grew up in a different way. You know what I mean? And that's in every aspect of life. I mean, some people love, there's probably a food from your hometown that you absolutely love that I probably tried once and be like, how do people like this? And by the same token, there's probably stuff from my hometown that you tried. You're like, I just don't get it. You know what I mean?
The first time I tried Skyline.
Right. Exactly. And I look at you like, dude, you're out of your damn mind. This is really
But it was great. Now I've come accustomed to it, and as a matter of fact, Sunday when I went back to Great American Ballpark with the family, I had a couple of Skyline nachos.
you had to, okay.
Phenomenal! Like I didn't buy them. I didn't spring the 3 times the price for them. But my nephew actually grabbed some and he let me try a couple. Man, they were good. I'm gonna have to grab that. Like, dude, did the Skyline actually have nachos?
You can't get them at the restaurant. That's just a ballpark thing.
It's a ballpark thing?
Yeah, see,
Yeah, then I
I
might have to
respect.
pitch. I might pay that price for that.
See, I respect other people for buying Skyline at the ballpark. I truly do. I will not do it because, like, the Skyline at the ballpark, I won't get because I'm like, I'm not paying 3 times what I would pay for it at a restaurant.
Right. I just can't bring myself to do it. Like when I
Right.
actually looked at when you brought it to my attention and I actually looked, I'm like, I mean, I get it. It's
It is.
ballpark prices, but
It is. But now the
that's
opposite
but
is
at the same time, I will turn around and spring $13 for one beer.
right. But see, when we all sat down, I'm like, look, I'm going to get La Rosa's. I don't care how many, and there's some good new food at the ballpark this year, but I get La Rosa's pizza at the ballpark no matter how many good options there are, because even though it's $9 a slice, I love it because they slop it together there, and it is better. And I have friends of mine that are from Cincinnati as well, and we all agree that if you buy La Rosa's Pizza at Kings Island or you buy La Rosa's Pizza at Great American Ballpark, it is better than when you get it from the restaurant. There is something about it. I don't know what it
Really?
is, but it is fantastic. So every time I
See,
go,
I wish I would have tried it.
you should have, but you were too busy with hot dogs. But I
Hot
understand you
dogs,
like hot
plain
dogs.
well, it you know what you know what? It's really funny because I really don't necessarily care for hot dogs, but the way I was feeling, it was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for the cheapest, plainest thing. That way, if I get sick, I won't be as mad about it, and and I just I was in a weird. I just didn't feel right.
You didn't pay
Oh,
$28 for a cinnamon donut parfait. I managed to do that.
yeah, which was very delicious. By the way, so when I went back to the hospital the second time on Sunday night, they diagnosed me with strep. So you might want to get checked out, my friend.
I'm fine.
Thanks for sharing. You might want to get checked out for strep.
I I haven't felt anything yet, but maybe I'll pretend. Got strep, can't do anything for a few days. Weren't you just nope, wasn't me. Anyway, that is what's on our mind this week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, all that kind of stuff. Feel free to reach out and socialize and tell us what's on your mind. And next week, hopefully, Mike makes it through another week being able to stay awake. And
I'll probably forget that.
give me 7 days. I'll find something else to whine about.
Oh my God, Steven, I actually had to listen to last week's episode to remember what we talked about. And
Mm-hmm.
that's
And you text me the next
bad,
day.
brother.
I can tell where my brain fall. You can really?
You can. No, no, honestly, I started listening back to like see if I could trace when I could, when I started having those brain fog episodes. It goes back a few episodes. So, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully the doctors can help me figure out what's going on. But yeah, it's kind of this is kind of scaring me a little bit.
Understand completely.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't blame you at all. And I mean, hopefully they point you in the right direction and find out something quicker than later. Um, because yeah, the worst part about that is not knowing.
That's what makes it scary.
And GI Joe said it best when they said knowing is half the battle.
Wait, they said that?
They did.
I don't remember.